Hey guys, Ben from Living Survival, and I got what might be my all-time favorite stove, so stick with me. Those of you that have been following my channel for a while know that I've used many stoves and reviewed many stoves, and my favorites are the bio stoves. I've used Trangia stoves, alcohol stoves, gas stoves, and I keep coming back to the bio stoves just because they're so easy. Especially for the area I'm in, I have lots of resources, lots of tinders, lots of wood. And for me, it's very easy to use a bio stove. A lot of places I can't build a fire, an open fire, so I'm limited in that respect, but I can use bio stoves. And then other times, I just don't want to build a fire. It takes a long time to build a fire, to build it up, to get coals to cook on, to let it cool down, to put it out. You know, to do the responsible thing, you gotta have water to put it out. And a lot of times on these day hikes, I just don't want to take the time to do all that. It's a great knowledge to know, of course, in a survival situation. But when you're out on a day hike, or even in a survival situation, little bio stoves are awesome. So I've reviewed a number of different bio stoves. And you guys can go back in my videos to check those out. Today I've got a bio stove called the Silverfire Scout. And it really takes bio stove or biomass wood stoves to a whole new level because it's a gasification stove. What that means is it burns down your biomass, which can be, you know, anything, wood, twigs. It burns that down in a chamber, and then as air is drawn up through the bottom, creating an updraft, the resulting gases from what you're burning get burned with that secondary heated air. So the result is an ultra clean burning, efficient stove. This is the Silverfire Scout. It comes in this nylon stuff sack, and you can get this in several different configurations. I got the complete kit, which comes stowed in this MSR stowaway pot. So when you take it out of the pot, you get the stove itself. Now you can buy the stove without the pot, and this will also go into the stuff sack. But what you get with the stove is you get a few different sections, and they also make a fire starter, which is wood handled. It's got some magnesium, ferrocerium, and then a striker, which is nice. You can get that from them as well. But you have the new and improved top to it, which is no longer hinged. It is just a single piece, and it will support smaller pots. Then you have several internal components. This is the ash pan collector for the bottom. Then you have a couple of the rings, and this is the ring with the inner wall on it. So that's how it nests together. How it goes together is you just take the bottom portion here. You can see with the little flames on the bottom there. And we can go ahead and assemble that piece. Drop the other portion on the inside there. And then the pot ring goes on the top. Another nice thing about having multiple parts to this stove is that it cools really fast. When you take the parts apart when you're done using it and set them on the ground, they cool down really fast. In addition to the ferro rod, you can also get some stainless silverware from them as well. Just got a fork and a spoon. So again, what's really nice about these bio stoves is that you basically just load them up and they efficiently burn. You don't have to make a fire. You don't have to worry about putting out a fire. Everything's contained within this unit. You can go ahead and load this up, and you can really pretty much top load this stove. So I'm going to put some bigger stuff down in there in the bottom, and put some medium stuff in there as well. And it takes a few minutes for the gasification to get going, so I really load this thing up. And I'll take some smaller stuff here just kind of put that over the top. That's what's cool about this one, is you don't have any small openings you're working with. You can just kind of load everything from the top there, which is nice. Then I like to use birch bark quite a bit. Just put some of that birch bark on top there. Alright, so then we'll just light this thing up. And as it burns down, it'll create that updraft and then create that gasification. So as it burns down into that thicker wood on the bottom, you can hear it begin to gasify. And you can see that it's producing literally no smoke, which is another nice feature of a gasification stove. So once that burns down a little bit farther, it'll fully gasify, and I'll show that to you guys. You can start to see it coming out of the vents on the inside there. You can start to see it. You'll see it around all of the vents once it really gets going. And then you can start cooking on it and adding fuel as necessary. So I'm going to cook up some bacon. You can see just how nicely it's gasifying there. And you just remove the pot and add wood as necessary. Also going to add some of that apple smoked sausage I had left over. When it dies down a little bit, you can just keep adding just little twigs and it'll heat right back up. Alright, so the bacon and sausage is done. So I'm just going to put some water on to boil for some soup. And you'll notice that the pot stand can accommodate the larger pots and also the smaller pots, which is great. Again, what's great is this produces literally no smoke. So in a survival situation, you're not going to be seen because of your fire. And that's something that's great as well. Water is boiling and handles are nice and cool. We got some nice crisp bacon. And some apple smoked sausage. The lid to this MSR stowaway pot even makes a good plate. Taking the stove apart is very easy. Once it's died out, you can just take the pot holder ring off, and then usually I'll just tip it down. And you can separate all the parts. And once you separated all the parts, they really cool down quite fast, which is nice. The stove and silverware nest back nicely down into the MSR stowaway pot. And then you can just throw it right back into the stuff sack. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video today, taking a look at the Silverfire Scout Stove. Now these guys know what they're doing when it comes to gasification. I've talked to the owner, I had a long conversation with him, and really intelligent guy when it comes to the subject of gasification and biomass stoves. They make a lot of other products that are much larger than this little Scout stove, but this Scout stove is perfect for bug out bags, survival kits, or just day hikes and camping, backpacking, things like that. It nests nicely down into that MSR pot, so with or without the MSR pot, you can put it in the stuff sack, and it's a small footprint, slides easily into your pack. It's very cool the way it burns the main fuel that you put in, the twigs and sticks and things like that, and then that secondary heated air burns the gases and makes it ultra efficient. I like the way that it disassembles into multiple pieces so that it cools down very fast. Within a couple minutes, you're good to go. Pack that thing back up. I like the fact that it doesn't create any smoke once it gets going. Of course, once your wood's heating up and things, you do get some smoke, but once it's burning and gasifying, then you get literally no smoke. I like the pot stand on top. It accommodates all different size pots. As you can see, I used the MSR pot, and then I used my Toaks 750 milliliter pot as well. So all the pots that I would want to use on a stove that size, it will accommodate. The only downfall I have with it is that it's so efficient that it goes from being really hot to, you know, your wood being out fairly quickly, so you do have to monitor that. The best thing I found was just to continually every few minutes just throw a couple twigs in there. It doesn't take much fuel to get a pot of water boiling or to get something cooked, but you do want to continually feed it so that it can keep that gasification process up. Of course, if you vary your wood from you know, twigs and sticks and things like that, throw a couple chunks of hardwood in there, you know, you can play around with it a little bit and maintain different heat levels that way so that you can cook appropriately. The price is $59.95 on the stove itself. Like I said, you can get it in a couple different configurations. The stove, you can get it as a kit, you can get it with silverware, you can get it with a fire starter. So you can get it a few different ways, but the kit itself without the MSR pot is $59, and then there's a couple other packages that go up from there. Of course, I'm going to put all the links below to Silverfire's website where you can check out more specs and more pricing options. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure you check my previous video. I'm giving away a Mora Pathfinder knife, so check the previous video for details on that. I hope you give this video a humongous thumbs up. Make sure you leave me some comments below, especially if you're new to my channel. Make sure you subscribe and say hi. And as always guys, subscribe for more videos.